We just saw an incredible clip of you going underneath. Was that truly oil? Was that the real deal?
No, that wasn't. Actually, on my Instagram, I posted a behind-the-scene video of what it is, and the guy explains it's a vegetable-based. It's like a milkshake. You can actually drink it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a milkshake-based thing, and in the video he explains the whole thing. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I've put it up on my Instagram. I thought fans would love it, and people keep asking me, what is that stuff? What is that?
Please tell me you did that only in one take, Michael.
We did it twice.
Oh, come on.
my God.
The reset was like an hour and a half because you had to go out, you had to shower, and then you have to do the makeup again and change everything.
Okay, now hold on a second.
Yeah.
Now, did you know it was a 2-take process going in?
We knew that the reset was really, really long, so we knew we didn't want to do it multiple times. We did it twice, and then we were happy with it, and it was great. I loved it. I love all immersive experiences. I love doing the physical, the emotional.
Sure.
I love when you're totally into the world. So to me, it was just such a fun episode to do.
But did somebody have to, while you're underneath and you're holding your breath and you're doing this thing, were you thinking, hopefully this is the only time I have to do this?
No, I was just having a blast. I was having so much fun. Man, when it comes to acting, I could do 1,000 takes. I'm one of those actors, I don't get tired of it.
Right.
I loved it. And there was a lot of symbolism to it, too. It was about a guy who was, that whole episode, Rock in a Hard Place, directed and written by Gordon Smith, who does a fantastic job. It's one of my favorite episodes of the whole show. And he basically, the symbolism of it is he enters through the darkest, the belly of the whale, in like the Joseph Campbell kind of like monomyth. He enters the belly of the whale and he loses everything, and then he comes back and purifies himself, and then has no desire for money or anything material, and is then willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. So there's a lot of symbolism in that episode.
So when did you first hear about Better Call Saul, Michael? When did that first hit you?
Yeah, it's a funny story. I don't watch a lot of TV generally, and I hadn't seen Breaking Bad. I walked into my father at the time, God bless his soul, was watching the last 2 episodes of Breaking Bad. And I remember making a sandwich and keeping an eye on the TV and going, God, this is good. And I remember the name Vince Gilligan at the end of every episode. And in a life is mysterious in that sense. 2 weeks later, I have an audition. And I'm in Canada, right? So it's rare to audition for something big in the States. And the name Vince Gilligan was on it. And I felt immediately like, this is a really meaningful audition. I did the tape. My friend left. I had a deadline to send it, and I realized there was no sound in the audition. So I had to call him back at like 5 a.m. and be like, man. Yeah, we got to tape this again. So we taped it again, sent it, and I was lucky they called me in for a screen test. And from there, I ended up getting the part.
Okay, so let's just rewind a little bit here. So you started watching Breaking Bad towards the end of its run? Is that what you're saying? That's
I
when you
accidentally walked in. It's like, imagine, you're invited at someone's house, and then they're watching it, and that's how you discover it.
Your dad was watching it?
He was watching the last 2 episodes, yeah. And I saw the last 2 episodes, and I said, this is a great show.
Yeah, but I mean, did you go back and watch the rest of it?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Once you got your gig, or
once I knew they were interested in me, I wanted to do the research.
Yeah.
So I started watching it. By the time I did the screen test and I was in LA and I met Vince and Peter and Melissa Bernstein,
yes,
I was at season 3. By the time I was cast, I had seen the whole thing, and I had a book full of notes, and I was like, "This is good. This is." Like the pinnacle of anything I've ever seen. So
Now we're huge aficionados of this, and Vince Gilligan was the first in studio guest in the history of this show. Yeah. And because I was a diehard of Breaking Bad from the get-go. I mean, from the absolute get-go, and I knew who Vince Gilligan was.
Right.
And I fanboyed him in an airport right here, LAX. Right. Fanboy, walked up to
Everybody
him.
fanboys Vince Gilligan.
He's not a sports fan. He had no idea who I was at all.
Yeah.
But I invited him to come on my podcast because I was such a huge fan of the show. I just took a shot.
Yeah.
He said yes, and he came on. And this was right after Breaking Bad ended, so probably about a month after you first surfed into your dad watching the final 2 episodes.
Okay.
Right around then. And so we gave him a huge, like an exit interview, right? Like about 1 million questions about Breaking Bad, and
possibly
nonstop. Yeah. But I bring all that up to say that we're huge aficionados, and there was only, you say, one time, Chris, in the history of Breaking Bad that your character Nacho got mentioned,
right?
Just one time, right?
One time. It's the first time we ever meet Saul. Actually, he's kind of in the desert with Walt and Jesse, and Saul wonders, did Nacho send you? Was it Lalo?
Yes.
And then that's it.
Ignacio, he goes, did Ignacio send you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, please. I had nothing to do with it. It was Ignacio. He's the one.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So does that mean then, I don't know if you've had a conversation, did Vince and Peter Gould sit down and say that one time we threw that out? Did they know of your character, like in the middle of Breaking Bad?
From my understanding of it was, at the time, they weren't sure what it meant.
Right.
And then when they were doing Better Call Saul, my character in the audition, and even when I was cast, I think initially was named Eddie. So that they give you dummy sides. They're not real sides from the show, but they want to know they want to understand the dynamic. So I was reading with a Saul type character, but the scene had nothing. It had to do with an external drive. I think it was written by one of the assistant writers or something like that.
Yes.
And then when you got cast, after you get cast, they announce your character's name, and they announced my character's name as Nacho. Now Nacho is short for Ignacio. And I think after season 1 or 2, they committed to the idea that was who they were talking about. I mean, it's amazing the way they do it. They go back and forth with so much detail. There's so much attention to every camera shot, every word. I really think, to me, it's one of the most cinematic shows that I've ever seen in the history of film or TV.
It's art.
Yeah, it really is. Everything is deliberate. Every camera angle is deliberate. Every costume, every color. I was so blessed and fortunate to learn so much on that show.